Welcome back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, it is our part 2 of our talking about the John Candy documentary called John Candy, I Like Myself. If you missed the previous episode, go back and watch it. We talked a little bit about his health that they talked about in the episode. We talked about just general stuff about the documentary and all that fun stuff. But before we get into this episode, what is new? What is the haps?
I've got a few concerts coming up. St. Mary's Band's playing at the St. Rose Lima Church in Martinon.
Sure. I don't know
what I mean to say.
I don't know which one.
It's on the west side near Doran Sports. Is that Martinon?
No, that's Milford.
Milford. That's the word I'm looking for. Milford. Thank you, West Side aficionado. That's all. That'll be. Oh no, that'll have already happened by the time this episode airs.
Yeah, because this comes out on the 5th.
That I'm sure was an excellent show. And I'm actually heading to Halifax in November, the week of November 11th, and I'm gonna hit up some comedy shows there.
Nice.
I've got one booked so far, and I've been sending the emails and the DMs to get myself booked on some others.
Sweet. Can I come to Halifax with you? I love Halifax.
You'll be awfully conflicted to have to avoid my shows then.
Yeah, I know. I won't go to the shows. I'll just go to Halifax with you and completely walk. Like, I'll go to the bars around your shows.
Are you gonna stay with my friend Jocelyn with me? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm coming over, Jocelyn. Prepare the couch.
Oh, she's got another bedroom. I think that's her office, though.
Prepare the office.
You know what? No, can't come.
Dang. I'll go by myself then.
Fine. Maybe I won't see you.
You probably wouldn't.
Apparently won't see you at a show.
Well, I'm trying to avoid your show, so.
You're missing out. I keep getting better and better, if I do say so myself.
I'm saving it for the Netflix documentary.
If I do a headlining set, will you come to that? If you can, like,
I mean, I
feel
guess.
like that would be important to me.
Probably.
I don't know why I'm setting you up with a hypothetical. Like, if I did this, would you do that? If you don't,
podcast over.
You'd be like, all right. So we had been talking about John Candy, and we kind of left off where we're about to burgeon into talking about health and wellness. And one of the questions that Isaiah has posted is, did the documentary handle his health struggles with empathy, or did it follow the cautionary weight equals tragedy narrative? That's a great question. But before we get to that, I think that we need to talk about the things that he did do. We touched on how he had lost 70 pounds at one point, and he's on a talk show. They're saying, oh, well, you better put that back on before your next movie. That's
right.
You need to fulfill this expectation for us.
Yeah. I mean, I think that drove him to eat a whole lot more and gain a whole lot more weight, because he just was like, well, that's what they want me to be. That's what I'm going to be.
It was interesting, though, as a fun sidebar. One of the things they mentioned that he had done to lose the weight is go to this place called Pritikin.
Yes.
Which is in Florida. Or maybe it's franchise, but I have been to Pritikin. I went there for 2 weeks in Miami. It was actually on a Trump property when I went, and their whole thing is a fairly robust meal, exercise. They have doctors there to make sure everything's done in a healthy way. But it was a very, if you could live your life like that,
yeah, it
would be, it was pretty awesome. There were different workouts that I could do every day. I did like 4 and 5 different workouts a day. There was cooking classes. They prepared all your meals for you with like professional chefs. It was like a swanky place.
Interesting.
Which is why celebrity like John Candy would go there. And
I'd never heard of it before before they mentioned it in the documentary.
No, I don't think I ever said the name of the place. I usually just refer to it as Fat Camp. Yeah. But it really was an amazing place. Really hard to sustain the stuff when you go home again.
That makes sense. I mean, a lot of things that we talk about, like, is like trying to make sure you can realistically do it, right?
You need to have the desire, and you need to have the time, and you need to have the money to do these things. And I know I mentioned in the last episode that despite promising that I would go to the gym, I've not been to the gym. I was not a lack of desire. I had my gym clothes with me. I wanted to go. One day that I had time to, something happened and I couldn't get away as easily as I would have liked to have. But I forced it? Probably. Is that my personality to do so? No. But in saying that, I just wanted to tell that fun aside that John Candy and I are basically the same.
Basically the same. Being a little parasocial, are you?
No, that's not the same. That's not what that means. I just learned this word earlier today.
Anyway. But yeah, so thinking about like how they talked about, how he died and about how, he lived his life. What do you think that the documentary handled it well? Do you think what do you think?
I think the way his friends were talking about them, and Hollywood obsessed people or Hollywood people, how they present is an important part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, does every job have to be that way? No. Is it the be all and end all in life? Of course not. And all of his friends clearly loved him a great deal.
Yeah.
But how you present in film and on television, that is literally your job. And do I think they handled it with empathy? Yeah, to a point. But these are people who are entrenched in that world.
Yep.
And so they're talking about it from everybody has their own lens on everything, right? And so these are people who themselves have probably struggled with various body image issues.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the work that they do. And I kind of feel that like they were very quick to say how much they adored him and how lovely a man he was. And it was this almost taboo subject of like, yeah, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there was only a few people that really are like, he he struggled with his weight, and it probably kind of danced on the subject, but didn't really really go into it.
Because it's not a politically correct thing to say today.
No.
But part of it is like, it was a struggle for him.
Yeah.
And like I was saying in the last episode, that doesn't necessarily equal unhealthy.
Right.
However, in his case, with a history of heart issues, and they don't come out right and say this because they didn't necessarily have all his medical records, but I don't imagine there was any lack of high blood pressure, diabetes,
right? But
I don't know. But he was also drinking a whole bunch too, and that's a known.
Yeah, and then having panic attacks on top of that is
right.
Yeah.
So I didn't find there was shame or blame over the course of this documentary, but
I don't think they. Yeah, I think they really tried to steer away from any of that. I think they were. It seemed like in the documentary they were just trying to show the love that people had for him.
Yeah, and I think they did a good job of that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was the biggest takeaway I had, was they were trying to show the love for him. They touched on how he died, but they didn't really touch on how he died. Just like,
right?
they didn't even like say he had a heart attack or anything like that.
They didn't, did they?
No.
But that's how he did die, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they never really talked about, other than that he died in his hotel while he was somewhere trying to film a movie. Yeah.
That was a very painful and sad time. That was a big deal. I remember that being a big deal when it happened. There's that part of the documentary where they talk about how they literally shut down the highway for him. And that's barely happened in life.
Yeah, they said in the documentary it happened 3 times,
something like that, and
when the president died, for the Pope,
and that's it.
And that was
John
it.
Candy.
Yeah.
What we danced on this a little bit in the last episode, but what part of John Candy's journey personally resonated with you?
I think the desire to see other people happy, the desire to make people feel like they're loved. I think that was a big part that resonated with me.
So when are you going to start doing that?
Well, you're different. You're the person I pulled out of my Rolodex and never called again. That was an interesting part of it was they talked about how he held grudges. And I was like, really? That's interesting.
It doesn't seem like you would, but you know what? I'm not going to say that's what I resonated with the most, because like you, I feel like I like the idea of being able to make people feel seen, included, and joyful. Like I live a lot of my life that way, even when I'm cutting them down with my words.
Right.
Isaiah.
You know.
But I it's not that I necessarily hold grudges, but I know this about myself, and maybe I've talked about this before. I have a whole lot of patience for people. I have a very, very exceptionally long rope, much longer than my arms. But when I get to the end of that rope, it is cut for life. And I could see myself, if I had a Rolodex for a very small number of people, pulling it out, and they're dead to me, because because it's taken so long to get there. It really is done for me.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I don't. There's not much coming back from it.
Yeah, and I think I think the big part, for me, was just the bringing joy to people, making people feel seen and loved and cared for. And I think I think that was something that John Candy really tried to do in his life and in his, and like Macaulay Culkin, I can never say his name right, really talked about how, like, as a child actor, you know, he went through a lot of abuse as a kid from his dad.
Yeah.
But John Candy was one of the few people that said to him, like, noticed and was like, "Are you okay?" Like that kind of thing, right?
How do you think we can carry this legacy forward in life and on this podcast?
I mean, I think we try and do it every day. I know I personally, I try and make sure people feel seen, cared for, and I think we try and do that with our podcast. I think that's part of what we do here, right? That's
entirely why we do it. It's not for us. I mean, it is for us, because why would we do it otherwise? But it really is to kind of to spread more empathy and kindness.
Yeah. And I mean, John Candy was a Canadian icon, right? He was. Did you know that? I did not know until this documentary that he at one point owned the Toronto Argonauts.
No, I didn't know that.
Did not know that.
I didn't know the Toronto Argonauts were a CFL team. No, just joking. I did.
You and your non-Canadian sports.
Just non-sport. No, I'm just joking. I know things. I like to play it up.
We won't talk about the Jays too much in this episode because we don't know what happened.
Neither do you. It's the series is over by now, man.
It is 100% over now. We don't know what happened. Hopefully we're cheering, but I don't know. I'm sorry if we're not.
Don't jinx it. Whatever you do, just stop talking.
Stop talking. All right. But yeah, no, he I didn't realize he owned was a part owner of the Argonauts. And he, like, they talked about it in the documentary how he flew to like every team's game. If they called him up and they asked him to come, he would be there.
Amazing. What do you think made his humor so distinctly Canadian?
I think I really think it really shows in SCTV, like that era of John Candy, more than his later eras.
Canadian show?
Yes, the Canadian show. Yes. What was it? The Street Center, or what was the something Center TV, or anyway?
I don't remember.
Anyway, it's a Toronto. It started as a Toronto comedy troupe, and I think that show is very much Canadian. I think it is the Canadian version of SNL, really, and I think that's where it really stems from. But I think if you look at his body of work, he typically plays that nice guy who is willing to help a lot. And I think for the most part, that's what a stereotypical Canadian is.
Yeah. Polite, nice, funny, affable, all of those things. I love this question that you've come up with. How would you describe him to a younger generation just newly discovering him? That
was a tough one. I think you'd have to, and I can't even think of like our time, like who would be the John Candy of today?
Want to know how I would do it?
Oh,
I would describe him as pure joy on screen with a combination of hilarious pratfalls but incredible heart, wrapped up in a large package which provides all the more to love. Holy Caitlin.
Ooh-wee.
And I didn't think of that. That just came to me.
Kids' eyes just glazed over.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
6'7".
Right. 6'7".
I have Riz.
But I when I think of like, I'm trying to think of who I would think of as the John Candy today, and I can't even think, like the closest I come to is like Chris Farley, right? Like I don't, after Chris Farley, who, like,
yeah, no, I know.
I can't think of anyone that would be that impactful.
Yeah, and he's not Canadian. And
right. Chris Farley is not Canadian.
No, and he's impactful, but is part of it is like he died, so that makes him naturally impactful.
Right.
But I'm trying to think of other beloved Canadians that kind of, I think Eugene Levy in his own way certainly has that kind of cachet, I should say, but
Eugene Levy and John Candy were
contemporaries.
Yeah, that was
like
the same, two sides of the same coin.
Catherine O'Hara.
SCTV folks. Right?
I know, but I guess that's what I'm saying is that's kind of how you...
But can you think of someone not from that era that's today? Like new today, on just recently became famous on the scene.
Because nobody can hide anything anymore, so everybody's terrible.
Right, I'm just trying. I can't think of it.
Ryan Reynolds to some degree, except that he's terrible.
He's kind of a terrible person now. He has some terrible tendencies, I guess.
Yeah, but like if he, Tom Hanks.
Yeah, but
he's not Canadian, but has that sort of like Diane Keaton newly passed away.
Yeah.
Parasocial love versus real struggles.
So, like, I guess the question really stems from when you look at John Candy, and this kind of comes through what we talked about before, was when you look at John Candy, when you see him as this funny guy, you see him just through the lens of what you see, what he presented out versus what reality really was.
Yeah, and I don't think that anybody looks at funny or famous people and assumes they're fine. Like there's that trope of the sad clown has existed for a long time.
I don't. There's people. I think people don't. I think some people just don't see things past surface level.
Yeah.
Don't think about things past surface level.
Yeah, you're probably right. People don't think.
Right. I think there is a parasocial level where you think, I know this person very, very well because of all the bodies of work I've watched this person, versus the reality of what they actually are struggling through.
But I think with him, he really did show his real self.
I think so too.
Based on how his friends describe him in this documentary, 30 years after he's passed away. And I think he did show us himself. That sounds bad. Hashtag me too. No. I really do. I think he did show a true version of himself. But I think he was figuring out, what he didn't show us is that his absolute fear.
Yes.
Which was of dying.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was like one of his huge fears. Just like, again, I go back to that. Thought he was going to die at 35. He always thought he was going to die. And I think that I think that may have stemmed why he drank so much, why he smoked so much, why he tried to be the happy party person, the Johnny, was it like Johnny Toronto? Is that what they called him?
That, but also that was the lifestyle of the job he was doing.
It's somewhat to a big extent, yes. But I think part of that also stems from, if I think I'm going to die at 35, I'm going to live life hard and heavy and happy. Yeah. And I don't think the death of John Belushi served them.
It certainly wasn't a warning because he just knew that was the beginning of the end.
Right.
That wasn't like, oh, I should pull my socks up and stop drinking and smoking and eating cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying that that's literally mentioned in the documentary. I'm not assuming all fat people eat cheeseburgers. But man, what would be good right now? Your final question: how does it relate to social media highlight culture reel today? I don't know that it does, to be honest.
I mean, a little bit. I think that there is this want to be famous and this want to be push yourself farther.
But I think that doesn't happen the same way. And so I don't think you have the longevity of fame. I think the 15 minutes has become 15 seconds.
You're 100%. I don't think. Yeah, I think that's also the issue is that because it's like 15 seconds, people, once you catch that little glimpse, you push yourself even farther and farther to be that person that captured that thing that got you famous and stay on that track that got you famous,
or try to pivot. Like I don't think it's a one trick pony situation.
Most people don't pivot though. If you look at,
I don't think that's true.
If you look at internet, social media, internet, just, I'm not talking movies, people in movies and TV and that stuff. That's a whole different.
But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about John Candy, who's a star of movie and film.
But this, I'm talking. But when we're talking about social media highlight reels like those. Like,
yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. It doesn't relate. Those are two different things. Yeah, is what I'm saying.
I think that those are. Yeah, you're right. Those are two different things. I think that's a whole separate entity.
We could have a whole episode on that, sir. But like, you're talking about, like, just as an aside, like the Cat Stickler dating John Mayer and how those sorts of things are so insidious in life that really were John Candy was largely unscathed by, although he had other things of just being famous.
How do you think, because 93 when he died, the internet was just being born
in its infancy. That's when you'd see videos on the Today Show of being like, what is the @ symbol? What does the A with the circle mean? Like that social media or internet wasn't, it was in existence, but people were just getting home email addresses.
So do you think, how do you think John Candy would be perceived different today if he was like just coming into his stardom today, or even in his midst of his stardom today?
I don't know, because I don't know, but I think that his path would be entirely different because the ways in which people are being discovered is entirely different. SCTV wouldn't have existed, doesn't exist the same way it did then today. And it's just, it's actually just an impossible question.
You think he'd be a YouTube celebrity?
I don't know, because it doesn't exist.
Well, no, but in a hypothetical world, in a hypothetical world, take who John Candy was and put him into the hypothetical world that YouTube existed.
But no, I don't actually. No, I don't, because I don't think, based on what is reported in that documentary, I don't think he was the kind of guy who would seek that out.
Yeah.
I think he was a guy that wanted to collaborate with people and make good products and make funny things as a collective. It wasn't about him. And I think to be a YouTuber, a TikTok influencer star, a lot of it, you have to be quite able to do it on your own. To a certain degree. Like, it's not like there's a famous, I'm sure they exist, so I've heard this one, but a super famous sketch comedy troupe on YouTube.
I mean, I won't get into it, but
what were you gonna say?
There are a ton of very not your age and my age famous sketch comedies,
but not to the level that he was famous. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the same thing. He was multi-generationally famous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There are sketch comedies that are happening today on YouTube and today on social media that I think in their time will show to be.
Name one.
If I was to look at, so there is a sketch comedy team from Newfoundland that I can't remember the name of them right now, but out of Newfoundland that I think potentially has the ability to be that big of sketch comedy as in SCTV.
But they aren't currently.
No, but
that's
I think
what I'm saying.
Be.
That's what I'm saying is they don't exist. You actually just proved what I was saying. Yes, I know they exist because you can do anything online. Everything exists. But do they have that magnitude that they did? And that SCTV started small, but it grew exponentially and was the seed. And it's kind of like how they're taking social media stars of and putting them on SNL now to try to modify that presentation. But I think that's why I'm saying that we have an entirely different topic happening.
FaZe Clan. They're
who are they?
They are a hundreds of millions of dollars group that do more. They do like some sketch stuff. They do some joke stuff. A lot of it's IRL, just joking around stuff. But I think
so. It's a different. So it's like I guess I'm going back to it's a different medium. Like it really is. We're at a different time.
Yeah, but I mean, if we moved those people to today's age, people don't typically go to movies anymore. People don't typically watch TV anymore. People watch YouTube. So I think
precisely what I'm saying.
But I think if John Candy lived in today, SCTV would probably exist in YouTube world today.
I don't know.
Versus TV world.
I don't know.
Because really, there's no sketch comedy on TV except for SNL. And SNL is not very popular anymore.
It is though. People still watch it. Hundreds of millions of people still watch it.
Yeah, millennials, Gen X, boomers.
And that's what my point is that they're picking these more like duo individual sketch performers from the YouTube and the TikTok and all that and putting them on SNL now. I think that path is different. And like you said, you're probably right in that John Candy would have found some way to do that. Or he'd be a plumber.
Or he would be a plumber.
Like, who's to say?
That's true.
That's why I hate these what if questions. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's the whole point of a what if question. You're supposed to theorize and think about that versus today. It's called thought process.
No, it's called making shit up.
It's called philosophy.
Whatever. Face plan. Nobody's heard of that, Isaiah.
I love only one of the top richest people on streaming services.
Money doesn't mean fame.
All right.
I'm just
Kai Cenat.
I'm a jerk.
Shut down New York. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands right now.
Stem.
Let's wrap this up. Final thoughts on John Candy. Final thoughts on the documentary.
Love them both. You?
If you have not watched like Trains, Planes, and Automobiles or
Home Alone,
well, Home Alone is I like Home Alone, but I wouldn't say watch Home Alone for John Candy. Uncle Buck. What's the other one? Canadian Bacon. Like those three, I would say if you're trying to find John Candy movies, those three are John Candy.
I watched Canadian Bacon after I watched the documentary.
So good. But I definitely think John Candy's legacy hopefully will live on. I think hopefully we'll see something.
Documentary helps. And
yeah, no, the documentary is great. Highly recommend it. It was on Prime TV. If you got Amazon Prime, go ahead and watch that. Not sponsored. But yeah, where can people find us on the internet?
Find us at Kate and Isaiah Living Large.
And I am at Maritime Brews on all of the social medias. Of course, you can donate to us at Buy Me a Coffee. Popped up right here if you're watching the video.
Maybe Isaiah and I'll invest in podcast couples therapy.
Maybe we should just bring a therapist in. Of course, if you are listening on wherever you listen to your podcast, if you can like, share, subscribe over there, or if you can hop on over to YouTube and want to see our beautiful faces argue, come on over to YouTube and like, share, subscribe over here. And until next week, bye.